So, welcome back to the Let's Talk Business podcast. We're here for episode 1. I've got Diallo Williams from Deevelopmedia here, and obviously Khaiyo as well. So, what we're going to be doing today, first of all, guys, how have you guys been in terms of like business? How's business been recently?
Business has been good. Since season 1 of the podcast, business has gotten stronger and stronger. I've gotten a lot more clients. Diversified the types of work I'm doing as well. So I'm doing a lot more, rather than just doing residential and commercials, I'm doing like end of tenancies. I've expanded into doing laundry, weirdly enough. That's a funny one, but
yeah, you mentioned that before. Is that's money though? I'm assuming. That's
yeah.
Quite a lot of,
I mean, yesterday I won't disclose the amount, but
you can just put a couple hands up behind the camera, there we go.
So I was at a property and I was tasked with washing doing the laundry for like all the bedding in the house, towels, everything. I was there for a good 6-7 hours. So yeah, so I'm working on developing that basically as well. I've just bought a window cleaning machine as well. That's another area of the business I want to expand into. So yeah, I've just been expanding the business, perfecting the craft, getting new clients in, thinking up ways as well to like keep my current client base interactive. I don't want them to feel like it's impossible to get in contact or whatever. So
not know what's going on.
Yeah.
Or the business. Yeah.
So one thing I've been meaning to discuss with you about actually is like potentially doing like some videos on like cleaning hacks and stuff like that. I feel like that could be a good
tips.
Yeah. But yeah, business has been good for me. I can't complain.
No, that's good. What about you, D?
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, business is cool. I've kind of took a bit of a step back just to kind of understand where I want to kind of go with my business and really focus on specific areas that need to be covered.
Let me be a bit closer to the mic. Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, I've taken like a few months just to kind of work on what I need to focus on and just become a lot more aware and understand things that need to kind of be in place to run a successful business. And I've really just been trying to get back into the creative process as well. So just figuring out things that I can do in my spare time to keep me motivated with creating content and things like that, and just always not relying on just solely like jobs that I get to put out work, like going out developing stuff, because it's in the name develop, so we got to stay developing things and really just finding I wouldn't say a passion for it, because I've still got a passion for it, but more of a bit of a consistent creative process of putting stuff out. So
cool.
Yeah, man. Just looking at different avenues to kind of work upon myself and the business as well, and what can make me stand out to other people.
Fair enough.
And how about you, Cory? How's business been for you?
Man, it's been hard. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Straight in the deep end, no life jacket.
What have you got yourself into now?
Right. I mean, where to begin? Where to begin? I've had there's been disputes with clients. First of all, Like, first of all, with that, it was a strange one. So I've been working with this client from let's say November of last year. And it was only to build a simple website. That was what was described. Simple website. But for some strange reason, this person did not want to pay.
We've all been there.
Yeah, exactly. This person just really didn't want to pay. I told them that I wasn't going to do any more work until I'd been paid. They then decided to threaten me. I got threats. They brought things like my race into it, loads of different stuff. It was really unprofessional. And to be honest, I realized that it's just not something that I want to, that person wasn't somebody that I wanted to work with, basically. I didn't want to work with somebody who conducted themselves in an unprofessional manner. Okay. So, yeah, I've had to cut ties with clients, just outside of Ardent Business Solutions. I've mentioned it before on the podcast where I've had like a swimming role. I've been a swimming coach for 10 years? Since I was 16?
Yeah, young.
Exactly. Since I was 16, and basically, due to no fault of my own, because I've got my own session, I run my own classes. To be honest, I'm pretty much my own manager. Like nobody really tells me or like directs me in any kind of way. I found out that because of a dispute between directors, that I'd actually be losing my role. It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
And again, I've been doing this for 10 years. I had no idea.
Didn't see it coming.
I didn't see it coming, but I wasn't too upset about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's because obviously I've got 2 other forms of income outside of that one.
Yeah, but do you know what comes to this? You outgrow your previous jobs.
Like I wasn't there for the money. It was never a financial thing for me. Yeah. Obviously now I've realised that there's a financial hit that I've taken, but at the same time it was never about the money. I was all about like the community, the group that I was working with. I liked the young people that I was working with. So it's a strange one. It's a strange outcome, but it's also weird because it's now like, what do I do next?
Yeah.
It's now like, what do I do now? I've got all this free time. What am I going to spend this free time doing? I've lost potentially some money coming in. What am I going to do to make that money back up? You know, and it's been a strange one because that's what I've been thinking about now, and it's thinking about how I'm gonna what I'm gonna do with my business now to make that money back up. But then also the fact that I was there for 10 years and I got complacent.
Yeah. I
got complacent in working at that place. I never thought that it would ever end unless it ended on my terms. And I think it was a good wake-up call because
that's how normal people think.
Exactly.
You don't see it coming.
Exactly. The job security, I thought I had that, and it wasn't there. And I kind of it's changed my mindset slightly.
Yeah.
So today,
especially when you don't see any signs of it going in that direction.
Exactly. I had absolutely no idea. Yeah. I found out when I was in the gym. They called me on the phone and said, sorry mate, so basically your class is cancelled as effective from September. I was like, wow.
Just like that.
Just like that. And yeah, that's just how it is sometimes. But Khaiyo, I know you've got some things to say on complacency within business and just in life, so I'll let you take control.
Yeah, no, complacency is an intrinsic flaw that prevents organizations, people from pushing beyond the status quo to achieve exceptional success. But as all of us are aware, complacency can come in many different forms, can hit you out of the blue.
Definitely.
You're never really aware of it. It can be the single most dangerous threat to any business. Like runaway tree roots, complacency takes hold of an organization's culture, and the worst part is many companies' leaderships are either slow to recognize it or don't stop it. So this brings me up to a question I have directed at both of you. Obviously I know you've just mentioned it, Cory, but in any other point in your business career have you noticed, or have you been privy to complacency?
Yeah, most definitely. Do you want to go first though, D, or are you happy with me going first?
Yeah, you can go first, that's cool.
It's funny because so obviously I've got like my full-time role as well, right? It's funny because we have this joke that we used to have when I had like interns or anybody else that used to work with us, and it's that nobody's safe.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's the saying. The directors used to come in. We used to have it put on the wall. It's probably like it's funny. Nobody's safe. It's like haha, but at the same time, it's true.
Double is true.
So it's like that's sort of always been the mindset. So, and it's strange that that's been my mindset, but in relation to other areas or of my life or within business, I haven't been thinking like that. So it was a bit strange for me. But in saying that, yeah, definitely, because one example, I had one of my long-term clients that I had a few years ago. I was getting paid quite a lot of money to like handle their marketing. So I'm doing like their social media, I'm doing like mailers out to people as well. So like mail shots that are going out, handling the social media platforms, doing video content as well, all of that stuff. And I was doing it. I must have been doing it for about 8 months, and I was getting loads of money. I was so happy and content, and I was sitting there thinking, well, I don't even really need to market. I don't need to do any of these things, because at the end of the day, these guys are paying me. I'm getting paid a lot of money. I'm rich. I wasn't rich, but you know,
Richer
like
than usual.
exactly, especially in the early days. That's how I felt.
Especially early days, you think, wow,
Yeah.
man, this is how it is. Woo!
Exactly. I thought I was making money, and I think sometimes I get like that when I've got a few clients, that when I get like an abundance of work as well. So say loads of people are coming to me for logos. Loads of people are like, oh yeah, I need a website here. Oh yeah, you know what, I want to refer somebody for a website. Oh, hi, can I speak to you about managing my social media? All these things that are coming in, and I'm speaking to people and I'm trying to manage all of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool, I'm getting the work in. And sometimes I get complacent and I don't think, you know what, I still need to market. I still need to network. I still need to actively seek new business
Because
and new opportunities.
When that slows down,
Exactly, what are you going to do?
Where can you go to?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, man, I think I've been in situations like that. You just have you either think you have things lined up or have things lined up, and then you just kind of get lost in that sauce, really.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
And then you forget you're thinking of the now or the present, what's happening in the present, and not thinking down the line where
Long term.
once this is finished, what's next? So yeah, that's the area that I've had to kind of understand as well, and being like, okay, well, this is happening now, it's great, it's good, but let me work on what's going to happen next too, so I'm not stuck thinking, okay, wow, like, so where do I go now after this project's finished? So yeah, man, I think that's those. I sometimes look at those situations in a good way, because it's like, okay, now I've got downtime for myself to kind of look into what I need to be doing and look a little bit further into what other areas I can tap into. So, yeah, but I definitely get that.
So it's a bit more for you, like a time of like reflection.
Yeah, bit of time of reflection.
Do you not see it as a bad thing though? If you're a little bit complacent and you're not necessarily thinking of actively seeking new work?
I think the more you think about it and not kind of act on it, then it kind of gets to you. But yeah, definitely when you're up and then you're not up again, it definitely sits on your mind, because you think, okay, well, why is this happening now? Before I was, everything was good. I was comfortable. Things were running well, and then you got this dry patch.
Yeah.
But then you have to be aware of those. It's like seasons. Every season has its ups and downs, and once you kind of understand that that's how the cycle works, you can put things in place to kind of help prevent or make it a little bit easier when those times come around. So yeah. Cool.
What about you, Khaiyo?
Yeah, I mean, I'm no stranger to this scourge of complacency, but I can remember maybe around the end of filming season 1 of the podcast, I was getting an extreme influx of work, like non-stop, and I was literally like you were saying earlier, I'm rich, I've made it, yes. I'm the Bill Gates of Croydon, right? Yeah. I thought I was up there. I thought, yes, this is never gonna end. This is me for the rest of my life. And you get so complacent, like you forget you actually need to go out there and put yourself out there more. You get so comfortable with referrals sometimes that when the referrals dry up, you're like, I'm stuck in a rut. What do I actually do next? I haven't planned this to happen.
Yeah.
What do I do now? And it's like how you can just get yourself out of that situation. But yeah, no, that's probably like the worst case of complacency, when you actually think work won't dry up. When you think it's going to stay that way forever.
Yeah, and I think once it happens to you, it's good because
It's an
you're
eye-opener.
like,
You should technically learn.
Yeah, you should,
from the first time it
should,
happens,
yeah.
you should learn that, you know what, okay, maybe I need to, even if it's like doing it on like a smaller level, I need to be like actively marketing or actively like reaching out to people to try and make sure I've got work coming in or have work in the works. So then I'm ready. So then if there is a dry spell, it isn't necessarily a dry spell. Or if you do get a large influx, depending on how your business is run, you can spread it out over different periods of time and stuff like that as well.
It's good to cast a wide net when it comes to stuff like that, because at that current time, the person might not necessarily need your services, but because you've notified them, somewhere down the line, they might come back and be like, okay, what can we do? Blah, 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 you know what I mean? So, it's always good to just put yourself out there as much as you can. That's something I had to learn as well. And at first, it's so uncomfortable to do because you're not used to it. But once you get past that, it becomes a little bit easier. And then if you continue making those steps, you kind of forget about it, and it just becomes normal in terms of how you're moving. So
cool. My next, in relation to it, what do you guys think is probably like, we've spoken kind of like our solutions like around it, but what do you say are like the main things that you do when you get complacent? So like, I know for me, like, just giving you an example, when I've, say for example, I've got some work coming through, and I don't necessarily have the time to do all of it now. So I'm sitting there going, I've got money. Like all of these people who want to work with me, that's money at the end of the day. So I'm sitting there and I might start some jobs, or I might do like do them in sections. So I might start one, speak to somebody about another, and move another one to the next month. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, hey, well, you know, it's all still money that I can then go and get, or it should all come in at a certain point in time. And I'm thinking to myself, is that necessarily always the best way to do it? Is that necessarily the best way to work? Do I need to like outsource it potentially at some point
okay,
as well?
I see what you mean. So people are coming to you, but I'm a bit busy. You're a bit busy, but you still want to take it on.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, of course. Listen, I want all the work.
You want all the work. It's true. And the thing is, it's hard because if you're not aware of how that can kind of set you back, because you might be working really hard but not putting in the necessary effort
with everybody. You can potentially then lose out on clients and lose out on money.
Yeah, you can either lose out on money or clients, and then you might get a bad name because you're not performing to a standard that they're used to seeing work. So they might feel a type of way in terms of, why is this not on par with what you've done previously? So I feel like never rush, because when I first started doing videos, I take on as much as I can, and I might have like 3, 4, 5 videos I got to edit, and I've said to people, I'll give it to you this week, and then I've said to the other person, I'll give it to you this week on this date, and in my mind I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna finish this edit on that day, and then the next edit on this day, and then I may have completed it on the days specified, or I might have to push it over a few other more days, because I've finished it and I've given it back to the person, and they might want to change, so I've got to go back to that, work on it a bit more. Nothing crazy, but so it's just understanding how to manage your time right with certain people as well, and prioritize what is important to you and what you're passionate about more over the money, I guess. Because money is good, but just make sure you get it in the right way.
Right, these coming out here with the gems today. Coming out here with the gems. We might have to bring you on here more often. You got anything to add, Khaiyo?
Yeah, no, I've got 2 important processes for me to kind of not fall back into complacency. One of them is I've kind of created a formal process to learn from my mistakes. Learning what I could have done differently challenges me to think, right, how can I avoid that from happening again? Because the one thing I feel like I don't want to ever get into is legacy thinking. So
What do you mean by that? Explain.
so legacy thinking is basically past accomplishments obscuring you from pursuing new opportunities. So you thinking things that you've accomplished in your past and getting caught up in them kind of, you know, stops you from seeing what you can potentially do
On a bigger scale? Or,
yeah. So
It's
say
like-
for example, say if I've done work for a celebrity or something, and I think to myself, right, yeah, you know, I've done this,
Yeah.
and you think that's going to carry you on forever?
Forever?
Yeah.
Okay.
People
yeah.
who kind of get caught up in the past and don't
Yeah.
look to the
And
future.
don't look to the future.
Yeah. So that's kind of legacy thinking in a nutshell.
I can see that can relate. Yeah.
And my second one is invest time and money into you, your craft, if you're doing something that's creative or physical or something that demands it. But me personally, I remember thinking, right, how can I improve my service? What more can I do for my clients that I'm not already doing? And there was just little tidbits when I would go around people's properties. I was like, hold up a second, why don't I do this? Why don't I do that? Let me learn how to actually do this. And it's weird, like sometimes I get clients come back to me and be like, oh, you did that the last time you came. Like, that was a really nice touch. And it's just little things like that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, one thing people don't look at is like, okay, like the insides of the kettle. You'll see like
lime
lime
scale.
scale.
Lime
Yeah.
scale.
Right. So I learned how to basically remove it within about a minute or two.
Oh, what? So,
Literally.
wait, what's the process? I might have to... hold on, wait a minute, you know? You might need to share some secret gems.
Literally, and it's just little things like that
Yeah.
that I wouldn't have thought of before that clients actually appreciate. So you improving your own skill set and perfecting your craft and investing in yourself is probably like the best remedy to stop yourself from falling back into complacency. Because once you start letting, oh no, what I'm doing is enough, it will get me by. Once you let that mentality get into you,
Too comfortable.
yeah,
It's true, man. Being comfortable is nice, but being too comfortable is...
that's
is
when the
never
problems
great.
start.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of what happened as well with like the coaching job that I had, because obviously, well, to a degree, I mean, I was doing what I did, and it was there. I was very. It wasn't like it was going to change. You know, the people might change, clients might change, but the work was always going to be the same. It was never really going to go any further than what it was. So I think it's good to a degree that I'm no longer doing something like that, because it now gives me opportunities to venture out, to learn more, and to do more. Especially since from season 1 I was talking about going out, doing workshops, and working with like young people and charities and stuff like that. So it's really important for me now, with this extra free time that I've got, to go out there and be actively speaking to these people. So in the coming weeks you'll definitely hear more about that, and hopefully see more about that as well on our various platforms.
You never really think that it's legacy thinking, but sometimes it actually is. So these are 3 phrases you hear often. That's the way we always do it.
Yeah, I get that.
The second one is, it worked fine the last time.
Yeah, might have, but things change.
And the last one, which you all definitely hear, if it ain't
If
broke,
it ain't
don't
broke,
fix
don't
it.
fix it. You know what I mean?
There we go.
Which I do believe in.
I do believe in it, but not
all the time. It doesn't
I
apply
think-
to everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think in,
that one's very give and take it. Like sometimes yes, but sometimes no.
I think business is strange, and I think you always have to be open to the fact that you have to change.
Yeah, man.
And I think that just is it. That's, if you can't change your business is going to
you shouldn't
die.
have a business.
If it's not an
Exactly.
adaptable model,
Exactly. So
Especially
I mean,
if you're thinking short term, yeah, sure, man, you stick to what you know.
Yeah.
But long term, nah, man, adapt and evolve.
no, but like an example of that is what Toys R Us.
yeah.
People don't really go into stores anymore. People don't really buy toys
It's true.
anymore. They really had to change their model. Look at Topshop or Arcadia, which is the owner of Topshop, Burton, Dorothy Perkins, all of those. the company's going into administration.
I didn't even know that.
Because again, they're not actively trying to change.
Mm-hmm.
What type of websites do you go on to buy clothes now? Boohoo.
Fashion Nova.
Fashion Nova. And you go into what is it? What's the other one? ASOS. ASOS. Yeah. So people go onto these websites to purchase clothes. Do you ever really go onto Topshop?
Never.
If I'm in Croydon, I might pass through.
So you might go to the store and you might go inside the store, but we already know that the store's dying out.
Yeah.
So are these businesses complacent?
And as well, they're struggling to keep up with things like ASOS. Like ASOS now is Walter posted a link on his LinkedIn. Yeah, no, I feel like a lot of these shops are complacent because, well, not even complacent, but they're just not keeping up with the times. Because when, as Walter posted something on his LinkedIn the other day, ASOS are actually working, I think they might release it next year, but they're working on augmented reality. So you can actually have a model come out from your phone screen and walk around the space you're in, modeling the clothes for you to see.
What?
Yeah,
That's gonna be cool.
it's crazy.
Wait, so
Literally, I saw.
how would that happen on the current phone?
No, it'd probably be on a newer phone.
Yeah.
But it's like it's a
not
concept.
everyone would be able to just It's a
But-
cool concept.
That's wicked.
That is
like,
gonna be cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
that's actually
See,
insane.
that kind of
so-
stuff though, that scares me, man.
Yeah,
'cause
same.
Although it's
Technology.
technology that's developing, it's like, wow,
Where's it
where
gonna
are they
go?
gonna, like, even the whole, was it Amazon talking about delivering through drones?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It was Amazon, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it's Amazon.
Yeah. So when I heard about that, I was like, so you could just be walking down the road, minding your business, and you're
it's
seeing
true.
something just
with a 60-inch
with a
TV.
little packet up. Well, nothing extreme like that. I'm pretty sure they'll start off small. Because, but just the thought of that, you opening your door and seeing a drone flying away, it's just delivered your package. It's wild. It's so wild. But it's cool at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
cool. Definitely a bit weird as well,
Yeah.
considering all the films
And
that are out. Well,
that's one
Or
area
technology
of change.
technology
You know what I mean? That's
coming out and
robot.
trying to
It's change.
trying to end us. Yeah.
They're obviously thinking of another way, a new avenue to try and help, I guess, keep the business going in a different way, recreate certain things. So, yeah, well, I would like to see how that runs, to be fair. I would like to.
So guys, another segment I wanted to add into complacency is what are some of the signs that people might be unaware of complacency forming?
In terms of like, if you're running a business and you don't necessarily know that you're being complacent.
Yeah.
Like, so you're unaware of it.
Yeah.
For people who are unaware, basically. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'd say. I think we said it before.
Failure to change.
Failure
though,
to
really.
change. Most definitely. Failure
Well, we
to
were just speaking
change
about that a second
and
ago.
adapt. Open to new ideas. If you're not open to new ideas, you can't create new ways of gaining a new audience or marketing yourself. So
Yeah, potentially targeting a demographic that you didn't necessarily
Have
think of.
before, yeah.
Exactly, or learning new skills. So you did mention that, but I was wondering. You mentioned like obviously you're going into like laundry at the moment. I don't know. We've spoken previously about like window cleaning as well. So are these like the main things that you're trying to do to change your business and trying to just keep it innovative?
Yeah,
And-
so
and
I
fresh.
feel like there's so many different avenues you can go into, and it's just a matter of, okay, so for example, laundry is something I pretty much do anyway, but I was just thinking, hold up a second, why don't I develop it further? So some of my clients who I would go to, I would have to do the ironing, for example, etc. So I was like, hold up, if I'm doing this person's ironing, and most of the time you do the ironing but it's on dirty shirts, so you're just thinking, why don't I do the laundry side of things as well? I'm changing bed sheets, etc, etc. It kind of makes sense because you're offering like the whole package.
Yeah, in terms of the package.
Yeah,
basically,
Exactly.
because rather than, say for example, if I offer someone 3/4 of everything but then they outsource the other quarter, I've then lost.
Yeah, you're losing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't I offer the entire service so that they can just,
Yeah, that's true. People will rather, if someone can do everything for them, they'll take that rather than getting the other half for.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than having to
Yeah.
deal with 2 or 3 different companies at the same time.
It's people like things to be a lot easy. So if you can make it easy for them, I'm guessing you can make a lot more money.
No, definitely. Like that's something that I've been speaking with a few of my clients as well. So like a lot of them now want like a whole marketing package. So before, where I might have just built a website, or I might do like marketing services for them, it's now a case of, okay, cool, you've set me up, but I still don't necessarily want to manage any of this. So can you do that for me?
If it's something that's working,
I love everything. Shout out to EcoFresh. I'm a manager.
No, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? It's a case of sometimes we're trying to be innovative, right? I'm trying to not be complacent. So in not being complacent, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, okay, cool. I want to provide a service that caters to everything that this person might need in this space. Yeah. So if I'm building you a website, I can do your social media, I can do your SEO, I can do your logos, your blogs, I can do all of that stuff for you. However, in doing all of that stuff for you, that's a bit more, because obviously my whole business process is to try and provide services for small businesses that are cost effective. That isn't cost effective because my time is very expensive when it comes to that. So I think for me it's kind of like a catch-22. I'm stuck between, do I provide a service that will benefit you but it's not as cost effective, which is sort of like
your objective,
exactly the whole reason why I run the business, or do I do it at a cost-effective price, but then I'm technically losing out. I'm losing out in terms of my time, but I'm also losing out financially as well. So that's sort of my.
Yes, I get that.
Your dilemma.
My dilemma.
Sometimes, I guess with myself, how can I put it? People want you to go beyond what you're
beyond the package that you suggested.
Beyond the package that you suggested, and it's weird because if it's something I'm really passionate about, I will
go beyond.
I'll go beyond, because if I feel like it's going to benefit me, I'm like, cool, yeah, let me. And then sometimes if it's just just another normal booking or whatever, and you're already maybe a bit busy with something else, and they want you to go above and beyond on this particular thing, you kind of have to feel, you have to look at how it's going to affect your time, and is it going to be beneficial to you as well. So it's a bit of a tricky one, I guess. It's still kind of a learning process of see what works for you.
Trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error kind of thing. So I never kind of dismiss it, but I'm aware if it's. I always try to be aware of if it's effective to the situation. So yeah, that's how I look at it, kind of.
Sorry, I was doing a video. I'll have to. It's gonna be weird to cut that section because obviously I'm talking. I think I swore as well.
Talking smack.
It wasn't even that. It's true.
Man says he don't even want to do his own business.
No,
he wants to do it.
No,
he wants to do certain parts.
Yeah.
It's a strange one. Certain things I can just outsource.
Business recognized business. You're looking kind of unfamiliar right now.
It's like, how I look at that is like, if I'm on a shoot and some people, are we still rolling?
I can turn it off if you like.
Yeah. Yeah. So my question was, how did you start pricing your services when you first started off, and what was the process you went through when it was necessary to change your rates as well?
So initially, I was just doing market research. I was looking to see how much cleaners in the London area actually earn. Plus as well, prior to becoming a business owner, I worked in mental health. Coming to like the last 6 months, I switched over and started doing a cleaning role at the workplace to get experience. And the wage they were paying there was criminal. So I thought, okay, right, if I add X, Y, and Z to this, that's decent.
Wait, do you mean criminal in a bad way or good way?
Oh, bad.
Oh, bad. Okay, alright.
Very
You
bad.
know, there's certain levels you can. Yeah.
I won't mention them, but yeah, no. So I was doing that, and then I priced it, and then I was speaking to some. I was on a job, and I was speaking to someone that was already a cleaner. They had been a cleaner for a while, and they was like, "That's really low. Put it up to this as like your starting rate." So I was doing that, and then even now, majority of my clients actually pay me more than my rate. So I'm again thinking to bump it up. But I feel like as time goes on and you get more experience, you should obviously have a cap. I feel like you shouldn't go too far with your prices.
Yeah.
You shouldn't undercharge yourself.
Don't get greedy.
Yeah, don't get too green-eyed and think, right, cool, let me charge an arm and a leg. But at the same time, you've got to be able to accurately pinpoint how much you think your craft is worth. So me personally, probably start of next year, I'm going to put my prices up because I feel like what I offer to my customers is of value for them to pay this price. But then at the same time, it's important to understand that with upping your price, you are then Xing out people who could have been
prior clientele.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I had that problem as well. So I'd say, when you first start off, you have a set price that you think for yourself it's a good price. It's not too cheeky, but it's still kind of what you feel like you deserve. Yeah. So when I first started, I had a set price, and then people were paying it. So I was like, okay, people were paying the price, but at the same time, they would complain about the price sometimes. Okay. And not want to or pay the price the first time, and then when they want to do another one,
expect a discount or something.
Yeah, they wanted to drop a bit. And because it was early on, I'd be like, okay, I'd drop my prices, innit? So, and at that point, I didn't realize what I was doing. So, once I understood how I needed to price my products and services, then I kind of had to be a little bit more strict on what I was gonna be given. So, and then I think once you start meeting new clientele, then you kind of understand, okay, well, these people are willing to pay this for my service, so let me stay in this zone more than what I was before. And with that is a bit, I'd say, because you're used to having a set price before, now that you've moved into a new and stand by your choice, and when things aren't going to plan, once you've made that choice, don't backtrack. Yeah. Because that's when you're setting yourself up to fail, I guess. So I learned that from other people as well, like other directors that I speak to and I've built relationships with. So once they've told me certain things and experiences they've had, it's helped, because when you see it happen to you, and someone's already told them their situation, it's like, okay, well, this is clearly a thing, so let me take on the advice that they've given me and really stand by it. So it's so similar. Well, for me, my price point, first of all, I was an idiot. I'm not gonna lie to you. I started off mad stupid. I build websites that,
tell them the price.
Let's just say first of all, the first price, my start off price when I first started out, it's not this price anymore, guys. When I first started out,
disclaimer,
my websites were like £150. Yeah. Now I'm charging £150, but I'm building websites that are probably worth £750. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. And now let me give you an example. I'm not trying to throw any shade to anybody I know or anybody I've seen or potentially been associated with, right? But there's a company who got a website built, right? And the website was shocking. Not by me. I didn't build this. It was shocking. It was through somebody else. It was shocking. And they charged them. It was shocking. Like, the website looked like something out of 2003. I was like, in 2019.
And they paid for it.
And they paid £600.
Woo! So, you know, at this moment, when I realised I'm charging £150 for websites, I had to go outside, look up at the sky and just be like, is this my life?
Is this my life? Yeah.
Is this my life? Because at the end of the day, why am I can't, like, obviously I'm trying to help people, but I also need to put food on my table.
Help yourself first.
Exactly.
Before you help anyone else.
Exactly. Fill your cup.
Yeah.
And then once it's run over, then you can go and start helping other people. Then you can start sharing your drink, you know? And my whole thing is this, like, now I charge an appropriate rate for my services. All services. I don't offer discounts no more. Unless, of course, unless I like you.
Unless I like you.
Unless I like you.
Or it's something you actually want to be involved in.
Exactly.
And you feel it's beneficial.
Exactly. Like certain passion projects and whatnot, then yeah, sure. Or another, unless of course it's like my job, you know, I do a lot of like stuff for my bosses now, my directors. So I do a lot of stuff, and in terms of how my full-time job has changed over time, that kind of incorporates that as well. So I can't really charge them. They maybe do it during my working hours. Yeah. So yeah, but
smart way around
it.
Smart way around it. But yeah, like for me, it's all like I have to charge this certain rate. I have to charge my rate because it's my rate, because this is what my value is. This is what I believe my value to be. If I'm doing something different, if I'm doing something for like a large corporate, if I'm doing it for a different type of company now, the rate might change. But that's also because of the clientele changing. So that's just how I've now got to work it. But yeah.
What was it like for you guys when you first got that big kind of paycheck from what you're usually used to?
Oh well, I got complacent. like I said, I thought.
How did you feel when you was like, wow, I can potentially, like, people are willing to pay this for my work?
Yeah. I think the first time I got paid a large check, I started looking up cars. Legitimately, I started. This is years ago. I started looking up cars. So I started literally like, okay, cool. I'm gonna rent this car. I'm gonna get it on like a year lease. You know, it was like the brand new. I was sitting there going, yeah, this is me. And that's only because obviously now I felt at the time that I was making that this is going to be my life now. This is just going to be my rate forever.
You were still in Candyland.
Exactly.
A little bit.
I got very complacent very quickly, and I just was like, look, this is now me. I didn't think, okay, cool. I need to reinvest this. I can sit here and have this there, reinvest this. I need this amount to live off of or to use for like my expenses and stuff. I never thought like that because at the same time you're sitting there going, well, outside of my paycheck, this is the most I've ever received ever. So
I think I think in that sense it's different because with what I do, obviously at that early stage, I in order for me to kind of make more money to create a better product, I would have to invest in those products. Tools because of what you do is slightly different. Yeah. When that first happened to you, it was like, well, wow, like this is mad.
Exactly.
So what's the next thing I can kind of do with this money? So you're thinking of other things.
Although saying that, I think I was working with you at the time. So I think we was working for that company in West London. And I think at the time I was outsourcing the video stuff to you. I didn't have a camera. And I didn't have no utilities whatsoever to be able to actively do some of the stuff. So I have had to invest. And in investing, I've had to learn. And even in terms of like the podcast as well, I've invested money into the software that we use, the equipment that gets used, and even just the research that goes into actually doing something like this and doing it properly.
It's a lot.
It does become quite a lot. And then even after that, you've got to do even more research. So you've got to research how we can actively get it out there, or how you can actively market stuff like this. Just outside of, it can't just be like a talk, or it can just be like a group of people talking. But then
like once you create a product, you want to put it somewhere or make it useful. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
And how can we capitalize on the other bits and bobs that we're doing, the other goals that we have in the other activities that we want to do? How do we capitalize on all of that? So all of these different things are what we're thinking about, and what you have to kind of like invest in, and all of this is time and it's money.
It's time and money, I think. Because with me, when I invest money into myself, sometimes I get a bit excited because I'm like, alright, well, this is the new equipment I'm gonna get, and sometimes that's all I'll focus on and forget that there's other stuff I might need to be investing in as well. And it's because whenever I get a lot of money, I always think, and it has worked in certain situations, I always think, alright, what can I do with this money right now that is gonna benefit me? Like, because how I see it is, I will spend all that money on something if I know I'm able to, whatever I'm buying with it, it's able to flip or double
what you're currently making.
What I'm currently making, or be added value to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I will do that, and then when I've got the item, and I look back at things, at my whole equipment and things, I'm looking at it like, wow, hold on, this battery stopped working. This light panel is a bit dodgy, and and then I'm thinking, all right, well, these things are kind of adding up. So
was it necessary?
Was it really necessary to do the large expense? So I think once I understood that, I moved in a slightly different way, but I still was aware that, okay, because you know when you get something, if I don't get it now, something else is gonna come up, and I'm gonna have to pay for that.
Yeah.
And I possibly might not get that until later down the line when it's something I need currently. So I always kind of assess that situation and think what's best for now and later on.
No, definitely.
So.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, I've always been someone who's good with money. So what really helped is when I had a sit down with my accountant, I already in my head knew how I want my money to run. Like, I've always been that way. I'm someone who's very meticulous. I like to know how things are going to work, how things are going to run, or else I can't be at peace. I don't have peace of mind if I don't know how things are going to work. So I always knew, right, I wanted to have money for this and money for that. Personal and business need to be separate. So when I had that big sum of money come in, I was like, cool, that's for the business. My wage is just going to come out.
Just build up the business account.
Basically, like, it sounds boring, but literally that's what I did, because obviously I have plans further along down the line. So I was like, right, cool, I need to kickstart it now. I need to get myself into the habit of doing this. So it just then becomes routine, so I don't dip into that money for anything other than business purposes. So like Diallo was saying, sometimes like there could be a new product out on the market or something, and I'm like, can't wait to test this out. Or
at least you then have the money in the business account to be able to
fund
that.
it. Yeah,
exactly. No, so that's sort of how my mindset works now. I'm a lot more along that sort of mindset now, especially in terms of like when I'm doing like the website building and stuff like that. There's different like applications and stuff that I need. If I'm researching different plugins and stuff, now it's a case of sitting down and making sure I've got that, or making sure that I've put money aside in the business account to be able to just quickly go and get that. Especially when I'm speaking to a lot of clients, I'm speaking to a lot of potential clients that want certain things. So like bookings, calendars, and other bits and bobs that I input into these websites, payment systems as well. All these things cost money. So making sure that you've got the finances to be able to cover that cost, at least initially, especially because imagine you've never tested this before, you've never used it before, and then you've got to implement it, and then it's the wrong thing, and you spent that money.
Plus as well, just to touch onto it, everyone's at different stages of their businesses, and for me, I solely rely on myself. If I don't have money in my business account, I can't pay myself a wage, which means I therefore go without. So
and you can't pay your staff.
Exactly, I can't pay staff, I can't do anything. So if I don't have money in my business account, I don't have a business.
It's true.
So I've got to think on a bigger perspective. I've got to think on a bigger scale, where it's like, right, if there's nothing in there, I've essentially just killed my business. EcoFresh does not exist. So I've got to be very careful with what this money goes on. So I've literally got a list that it's acceptable for money to come out for this, that, and the third. Nothing else. That's just how because when you've got a job, so for example, in your situation, you're okay because you have a job, you work for yourself, so you have two sets of income essentially. But for me, it's like
it's the one set.
It's just that one set of income. And if I mess that up through my own bad habits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. When because obviously I was getting paid consistently at the time, and this again I reiterate, it's a few years ago. so when I was getting paid a few years ago and doing this, it was at the time obviously from a financial standpoint, I was like, well, I can put this amount aside, but then I can go and do this. I can go and get this. This doesn't even relate to my business, but you know what? I can. Whoa! Don't do that. I don't know about those. I don't know what he's talking about. but you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's been a learning process for me, definitely. Over the years, well, we've seen it from like season 1. Financial has definitely been a process, and I think managing cash flow, managing like expenditure, making sure you choose what you're spending your money on as well is really important. For like a final question, just to kind of wrap up today's one. What if you had 3 tips that you would give yourself in order to like have you done that already? Combat complacency?
Oh, I mean, we kind of have covered it.
Or actually, let's do. This is a good one. What's the reason you do what you do?
What's the reason?
Yeah.
We've kind of answered that already.
We've
answered that in a previous episode, but now
we've covered it in season 1.
However, now it's a case of you answering the question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Put me in the spotlight. Okay. Why do I do what I do? I feel like I do it because it's not the same thing each time. It's always something new. Although it's the same, I guess you could say genre, but yeah, every time I do something, it feels different.
Like a different concept.
It feels like a different concept, a new idea, a new experience. And I feel like for myself, I thrive off things like that. Like those, that's something that is very important to me. And if I feel like I'm doing too much of the same thing, I either get bored, or I lose focus, or it's not creatively pushing me to the next level. So I feel like this field that I'm in allows me, although it's the same thing, camera or whatever, it allows me to tap into different areas, giving me new experiences and understanding of what it's like to carry out these tasks and projects, and I think because it's all down to partially my ideas and things. It gives me that freedom to experiment with things and try things out that I wouldn't usually do. So and I think I've always been. I knew from the beginning. I might have not been aware of it at times, but I always knew from the beginning that I was very hands-on with things, and I like to create things and build something that's different. So I've taken that into this, and because it gives me that freedom to be creative and put my own personal touch on it. That's what I like. I like looking at something and thinking, yeah, I did that, I made that. And although people are doing the same thing, they're never going to do it in the same way you do it. So and once you can identify, and other people can identify your line of work and your style, I feel like that's even better, because now they're appreciative of what you do, or just aware of your work, and they can spot it as soon as they see it. You know what I mean? So
cool. To wrap up now, I've got one last question for you.
For me personally.
For you personally, D. To your younger self, what 3 things would you say, or what 3 things would you tell your younger self in relation to starting a business? Let's say your 10-year-old self.
Love what you do. Be confident in your abilities. Don't question yourself. And always look to be a better version of yourself in whatever you do. I'd say those are free. And to be fair, I don't even think free is enough, because I'd say surround yourself with good people as well that are on the same level as you, and that can motivate you to pursue or continue doing what you're doing as well. And just enjoy it, man. Like, once you stop enjoying it, it's not for you anymore. You know what I mean? Which is cool, because some things aren't supposed to last. That just means you're on to the next chapter. So don't be worried as well if you feel like you're not completely in love with it, because you might find something else. So yeah, man, just do whatever interests you and attack it.
Cool. And for those who don't follow you or don't know about you, do you want to plug your social media handles?
Deevelopmedia.
How'd you spell
So
that?
that's D. So it's spelled Developmedia as normal, but with 2 E's. So DEE Develop Media. All one word.
Cool. And is that on every platform? What platforms are those?
So that's Instagram. I've got a Vimeo account. Currently working on a website. Vimeo account's got all my work on. So you can check out my videos and stuff. And yeah, my Instagram. I don't use Snapchat per se, but I have got a Facebook one. It's an old one, but I'm updating that at the moment. But yeah, definitely Instagram. Yeah, check me out on Instagram, or email developmedia@gmail.com. At developmedia@gmail.com.
Cool. So, I think we're gonna wrap this one up. So, do you want to just end off, say thank you for listening or something like that? Something along those lines?
Yeah,
Well, let you wrap up for us.
Well, it was an experience to be a part of it. You know, first time. It's good. I feel like things like this is needed from time to time. You know, people can come together, discuss certain things that they're doing, and just hear what each person has to say, and learn different ways in which you can apply that to yourself or your business. Or I think discussions like these is definitely needed. So it's a good thing. Glad I could be a part of it.
No, that's good, man.
You'll see me again sometime.
Definitely, most definitely. Yeah. So, from all of us here, we will see you next time.
See episode 2.